Welcome to Conflict News 24. We share daily updates with you on global conflicts. Today, firstly, we'll have a look at Yemen conflict. Civil war in Yemen started in 2014. In April this year, ceasefire was announced, but ceasefire agreement could not be renewed. All parties are accusing each other. There are fears of resumption of fighting in Yemen. Details for you. Secondly, Elon Musk, SpaceX owner, US billionaire, has proposed a solution to end Russia-Ukraine conflict. His solution is being shared by Russian official news sources as well. What did he say? And lastly, viewers, Ukrainian forces are launching another rapid offensive in southern Ukraine, Kherson. They were on the offensive on Kharkiv, where in the last 3 weeks they have regained large territories. Now in Kherson, their offensive is gaining pace, counter-offensive, you can say. We have details for you on a map. Firstly, viewers, Yemen, where in 2014 civil war broke out. US, Middle Eastern, US allies, UAE, Saudi Arabia backed Mansour Hadi's government. Iran backed Houthi fighters. And in 2015, Saudi Arabia with Arab coalition became involved in the war as well. UAE is involved too, though UAE is on the one hand is part of a Saudi-led coalition. On the other hand, in southern Yemen, UAE is backing Southern Transitional Council (STC), another group which is in control of parts of Yemen in southern Yemen. The war went on since 2014. Tens of thousands have been killed, millions displaced. Humanitarian crisis seen in Yemen in recent years. Then in 2022, this year, in April, a ceasefire agreement was signed with the mediation of UN. And fighting came to an end. The ceasefire agreement was renewed twice. Now, this month, October, the agreement was due to be renewed once again, but it could not be renewed. Houthi fighters backed by Yemen and the other faction, Mansour Hadi faction, backed by Saudi Arabia, UAE, are accusing each other. UN says that it is very disappointing that a ceasefire renewal for the next 6 months could not be reached. After talks were held, but talks remained unsuccessful. So there are fears of resumption of fighting in Yemen. Iran-backed Houthi fighters have been attacking Saudi and UAE territories as well. They fired missiles on UAE's territories and on Saudi oil installations. In a statement, Houthi spokesperson called upon foreign companies, oil companies working in Saudi Arabia and UAE to make preparations to pack up and leave. It means that there are serious fears of resumption of fighting in Yemen. No success in the ongoing talks so far. Yemen is split into 3 zones: northern, and western areas are under the control of Iran-backed Houthi fighters. You can see on this map that northern areas, western, are under the control of Iran-backed Houthi fighters, and southern areas are under the control of STC, another group, Southern Transitional Council. It is backed by UAE. And the rest of Yemen is under the control of groups which are backed by Saudi Arabia. Yemen split into three parallel governments, you can say. Let's see. Will there be resumption of fighting in Yemen, or will there be some sort of success in the ongoing talks that remain? Coming hours, coming days, very crucial for this civil war going on for years in Yemen. Secondly, viewers, Elon Musk, SpaceX founder, US billionaire, has proposed a solution to end Russia-Ukraine conflict. Elon Musk is providing satellite internet in Ukraine, where Russia launched invasion in February this year. What is he proposing? Firstly, he says that in the areas of eastern Ukraine where referendums have been held, referendums should be held again under the supervision of UN. UN supervised referendums should be accepted. Results should be accepted by Russia and Ukraine. Referendums in Lugansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia and Kherson. Secondly, he proposes that Crimea, which Russia annexed in 2014, where a referendum was held as well, Crimea should remain part of Russia because it was historically part of Russia. An issue of supply of water to Crimea should be resolved. And thirdly, he proposes that Ukraine should be neutral. It shouldn't join NATO. It shouldn't be part of Russian camp as well. Simple solution. It is being backed by Russia, it seems, because Russian news sources are sharing Elon Musk's solution. But it's easier said than done. How will referendums be held in Lugansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, Kherson, where millions have been displaced from these zones, and displaced are outside Ukraine, in Russia, in Ukraine as well. So first of all, genuine original residents of these areas should return. Then referendum can be held. So it's not an easy task. Secondly, neutrality of Ukraine now is again easier said than done. Ukraine is trapped, by the way, viewers. Ukraine a few days ago, I think 3 to 4 days ago, submitted an application for joining NATO, that its process of joining NATO should be accelerated. But it hasn't received any positive response from NATO countries. Majority of NATO countries is not supporting Ukraine joining NATO. Why? Because if Ukraine joins NATO, NATO will be bound to protect Ukraine. NATO will have to deploy its assets to protect Ukraine. NATO, led by US, does not want to be directly involved in this conflict with Russia. But it is backing Ukraine. It is providing weapons, logistics to Ukrainian forces. So Ukraine cannot be part of NATO. NATO not ready to take Ukraine as its member. On the other hand, obviously Ukraine cannot be part of Russian camp as well. Eastern Ukraine, southern Ukraine, central Ukraine destroyed. Tens of thousands have been killed, infrastructure destroyed. Ukraine's military destroyed, infrastructure destroyed. So Ukraine can never be a friend of Russia. That is why Ukraine is in a very difficult position. What will its future be? Zelensky cannot abandon the US and West, because US and West are supporting Zelensky's government. The day they stop supporting Zelensky's government, the day they stop providing financial aid, military aid to Ukraine, Ukraine will crumble. So Ukraine will have to rely on Western and US support. At the same time, it cannot join NATO because NATO does not want to be directly involved in this conflict. So it's a complex issue. It's easier said than done. Let's see. Lastly, viewers, Ukrainian offensive in southern Ukraine on southern front is gaining pace. It was Kharkiv, which we were talking about a few days ago, where Ukrainian forces made large-scale territorial gains. Then in northern Donetsk, now target of Ukrainian counteroffensive is Kherson, where they are trying to cut off Russian supply lines towards Bird. Have a look at this map. We have details for you about Ukrainian counteroffensive in eastern Kharkiv and on southern front. Have a look at this map. Two parallel counteroffensives are ongoing by Ukrainian forces. Three rather, but two are main. First one is in eastern Kharkiv. This offensive going on for around 2 to 3 weeks. And here we know that Ukrainian forces have made territorial gains. Now they are trying to cross this river, Oskil River. They have crossed this river. They have retaken large territories in Kharkiv, and now they are crossing this river and they are moving towards the border, which is Kharkiv-Lugansk border. So they are pushing Russian forces towards Lugansk from Kharkiv. Oskil can be seen here. Barova came under Ukrainian control today, visually confirmed. When I talk about gains and losses, I always talk about those losses again, which are visually confirmed. So it's not just a rumor, not a claim. Visually confirmed gains by Ukrainian forces are firstly Barova, which has come under Ukrainian control. Secondly, Pidliman. Thirdly, Nevzhenia Zuravka. Thirdly, Nevzhiche Solone. Fourthly, Shaikevka. These four places have come under Ukrainian control. So you can clearly see that Russians are being pushed toward this zigzag line, which is Kharkiv-Lugansk border. From Kupiansk as well, Ukrainian forces have crossed the river Oskil, but here Russians are holding ground to the east of Kupiansk. So this is first area where Ukrainian counteroffensive is ongoing. This is eastern Kharkiv, to the right bank of Oskil river. Second ongoing Ukrainian counteroffensive is in northern Donetsk here, where we have been reporting in recent days about Ukrainian advance towards Yemen, which has come under Ukrainian control. And now front lines have been pushed towards this border, which is Donetsk-Lugansk border. So here, Ukrainian forces have managed to advance from Kharkiv through Donetsk towards Lugansk, and front lines are close to Zarichne, close to Crimea, the border, Lugansk, Donetsk border. So this is second front, northern Donetsk, Lugansk border, where Ukrainian counteroffensive ongoing. Now, third area where counteroffensive is ongoing is the one where we are seeing rapid gains by Ukrainian forces, and that area is Kherson. That region is Kherson. Yesterday, I reported about capture of a town, a small place close to Dnipro River in Kherson, Zoloto Balka. You can see here Zoloto Balka. And since yesterday, Ukrainian forces have captured several places close to Zolota Balka, and they are trying to move towards this road. They are trying to cut off Russian supply lines which are coming from Kakhovka across Dnipro River. You can see David Bird here under Russian control, strategic area. For days, Ukraine have been trying to cut off this road, but they could not. Mostly they were trying to cut this road from western side, from Beloherka, from Sokhyestovok, from Kostromka, but they could not cut off this road. Now from eastern side, from here, they are making some swift gains. Zoloto Balka, again visually confirmed, under Ukrainian control. Secondly, Petrivka, confirmed, under Ukrainian control. Thirdly, Lyubimivka, retaken by Ukrainian forces. Fourthly, this place, Khryshchenivka, confirmed, Ukrainian control. This one, Shevchenkivka, retaken by Ukraine. This one as Makhalivka, under Ukrainian control, visually confirmed. And this one too, Harvelevka. Front line is near Dodchany. You can see Dodchany here. And obviously, Ukrainian forces are trying to cut off Russians in the back. They're trying to reach somewhere close to this road. They're not advancing from western side, rather from eastern side along this river, Dnipro River. Ukrainian forces are advancing, trying to cut off Russian supplies across Dnipro River. Front line is Dodchany. So you see that in the last 24 hours, Ukrainian forces have recaptured several towns in Kherson. This is Kherson, viewers. We're talking about Kherson region. This is Mykolaiv. This is Kherson. We're talking about Kherson, where Russians held a referendum a few days ago, and Russians announced that Kherson became part of Russia. So it is now in Russian territory, which Russia claims it is territory, that this Ukrainian offensive is ongoing, and Ukrainian forces are making rapid gains here, and they are trying to move towards this road. Can they cut off this road towards David Bird? That remains to be seen. Thank you for watching.